Okay. Hello. Welcome to Merriment Mondays Live. I'm your host, Mary England, and we're letting everybody that we're here live on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, making sure we're streaming to everywhere. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello. Good afternoon. Hello, thanks for joining. Yes, please say hello. Oh, hi, Susanna. Hi, Lydia. Hello, hello. Okay, this is your Merriment Mondays Live bi-weekly dose of happiness, self-love, real talk about how to make your way through life. And today, we're not going to talk about the thriving element. We're going to talk about more of a strategy and really just like how to survive the relentless grind without feeling like a failure for not being at 100% all the time. Oh, hello, Janice, our resident psychic. Yes. Okay. So, sometimes, here's something that I've been talking about in my head, in my more personal group lately, which is self self-development, personal development, however we want to look at this, is really this group of two different kinds of people who come to it, you know? We are here for two different reasons, and it's sometimes you come to self-development or you are looking for tools when you need when you're really down and out, right? Like you are somebody who is I can't like get comfortable in this chair right now. I'm sorry. Okay. When you are somebody who is like, okay, I'm down. Nothing is working for me right now. I am struggling. I can't breathe. I can't think. My body hurts. My brain hurts. My money sucks. Like everything sucks right now, right? And I think we've all been there at some point when we are just like, hello, right? And then there's another part of self-development where we're actually doing all right. And we come because we want to do even better. Think about it like the gym, right? You know, I've heard jokes where people are like, I think it was Bill Burr. He said, I don't know, I go to the gym and I'm trying to work on myself. And then, people there, they've got like a six pack and they're like ripped and they're so much. And it's like, dude, buddy, you're done. You're done. Go home. We don't need to come here anymore. And it's like, well, that's subjective, right? Some people are going to keep going to the gym and they're going to keep coming. And that's not really like, um, it doesn't really matter. Like you can keep going, right? So the idea is some people come to the gym because they can't move. Like not even going upstairs wins them, but just like moving off the couch wins them, right? And then, going to move, doing any sort of movement is really, really intense. It's too much. And the concept of even just thinking about doing something self-improvement based in terms of physicality or movement is it's too much. It's like we've gotten so far gone. It's like we're in too deep now. Maybe I can't change. Maybe I can't. Maybe this is too much. Maybe I'm 600 pounds and this is just where we are. Maybe the only kind of thing for me is that I'm going to be on like a TLC lifestyle show or something, right? And that's a fair feeling where we're just like, I'm too far gone. And then the kind of there's the other side, right? Where it's like, I am I'm not bad, right? It's not that something is bad or good. It just is. But you're like, I'm actually kind of in shape, but I'd really like to be able to run a marathon. And again, neither of these things are bad or good. It's just like, why are you going to the gym? So I think looking at this, do you want to go from being completely unstable to just kind of like trying to survive and getting through stuff? Or are you like doing pretty good and you just know something out there is even better for you, you know? So like where are you coming to self-love, personal development from? I think those are really good kind of distinctions. But the problem is that we actually treat the whole thing like it's the same. And it's not. And I think in general, I have mostly in the past few years been making resources for the latter group, like assuming that you're doing okay and you want to do great. But the problem is that if you aren't doing great and you're really low and you hear these more like, let's go, 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 go vibes, then it can actually be kind of detrimental. So, without getting into that even more, I just want to acknowledge all of that. And then let's talk about the difference between surviving and thriving and how the idea of thriving for some of us can really feel like an exhausting thing to do. So, what if we don't have the energy to optimize our morning routine or reframe our struggles in a growth mindset? You know, what if today is one of those days where we just need to get through it without completely shutting down? So if you've ever felt like that, can we get some energy in the chat? Maybe a sad face or a heart in the chat wherever you're at. I can all of them are coming in on one platform except Instagram, so I can see all of you at once. Even if you look like you're alone on your platform, I can see everybody, and it's so great. I love it. And hello, this is Janice's favorite topic. I love it. I know we're evolving. We're all evolving. It's so good. So if you're here, let us know. And you can even tell us where you're at. And oh, you know what? Before I forget, I want to let you know that I'm doing a soft rollout right now for oh, hey Lori, for the new location of the Positive Pulse. So that's my free community. And before it was kind of split up and it was still good, free resources are great, but it was kind of like one section was the dashboard and was online, and the other section was like a free Facebook group. Well, I want to let you know that you are now you can get it on this like really great, it's like this, it's called Mighty Networks, and it's on an app and it's on the computer, and it's so organized. It's like my OCD is just like, yes, thank y'all. So I'm loving it. People are coming over quick, like not quickly, like we're dribbling in. There's already like a dozen people in there now, but we got to get like the hundreds of you to make the transition, and I promise it's going to be great. But one of the things that I want to be able to do is that when you come in, these kinds of resources can be divided up. So like you're like, how am I feeling today? Do you need surviving resources or do you need thriving resources? And maybe we can come up with less hokey words for that, but that's the energy, right? Okay, let's check back in with you guys. Lori's feeling it. Janice is like, I'm fucking tired. Lydia's like, I'm surviving, but I want to thrive. Right. So we can see, and it changes by the day, right? If you would have asked me 2 months ago, I would have been like, only want to thrive, babe. Right now, this past 2 weeks, I am in survival mode. And it also doesn't matter like who you are or where you're at. It's just like it's circumstantial. It's based on your health, it's based on your location, it's based on your age, it's based on so many different things, right? It is deeply, your circumstances matter. Don't let any like manifesting guru be like, nothing really matters. It doesn't really matter about like how you are and like who you are, and like you can just like manifest anything into oblivion. Like, no, actually we need to take your circumstances into account. We don't need to become victims about them, but we do need to acknowledge where they are so that we can move forward. You're live streaming by live streaming? What does that even mean? Oh, Lori's already signed up for the Mighty Networks. Oh, how do I tell you how to do that? So you just go to my website uncustomary.org, and when you sign up for Positive Pulse, it'll redirect you towards that. So here, I'll type it in on, I'm doing the uncustomary.org Positive Pulse. And if you're already in the Facebook group, like you were in the original one, then just come on over. There's a link at the top. It says like, hey everyone, and just click over there. And all you have to do is, it's free. Just make like a new account. Okay. All right. We haven't even gotten into it. All right. So let me ask you guys this. Hello. 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 Hi. I see all your highs. What is the tiniest thing that has helped you get through a hard day recently? The tiniest thing. And I really want you to think about this, or don't think about it. I don't care. Let your gut answer be the thing. So what is the smallest thing that actually created a physical shift or a mental shift in you? Maybe it's something like Oh, I ate a bag of Doritos and that actually made me feel a little better because I remembered that something can taste good. Or okay, Janice is like, I had people view me online on your page from Uganda and Indonesia. That's crazy cool, right? Being able to understand that there's like people around the world that are looking at us. That's amazing. I love that. Okay, so what the question is, what's the tiniest thing that helped you get through a hard day recently? Susanna says, listening to a comic that's just one joke. Yeah, okay, great. These are all great answers. So think about that. Think about like, what is it that actually created a shift, mental or physical? So hearing a song, wrapping yourself in a blanket. Matt wrapped me up in 3 blankets and I looked like a burrito and I looked insane. He took a picture of me. That was great. Drinking a small drink. And I really want to remind you that these things, I know that they can sound simple, and maybe it's because like people who are that make us angry on the internet have really like tried to market and capitalize on top of these simple things, right? Like, yeah, like hot tea. That's such a good example of something that is actually really beautiful. It doesn't actually matter if it's healthy or unhealthy. I don't actually care right now, especially when you're in a survival state. I don't really care. I don't think it matters. Yeah, let's be real and honest about it. But like hot tea is a really good example of when we see something that's really simple online, like someone saying, "Hey, what if you took a bath or had a drink of hot tea or looked outside?" And we're like, "Oh, I need to roll past this. I need to roll past this piece of advice because it's not helpful." And the truth is like, no, actually, I think it might be helpful. It's that we've heard it so many times and it's been from resources and sources and people that we're like, there's something about you that I don't like. And there's a reason that you don't like it. I get that. I get that. And there's something too about like the nickelback of self-help, right? When people say things over and over and over again, we're like, oh my God, like how good can it be? And the truth is that nothing works for everybody. And even the most tried and true things won't work for you, maybe, right? Like even the things that have become the most helpful, the most researched even, like meditation and yoga and journaling. Those are the things that have gotten like the front run of like stuff, right? The most researched. They became like the Nickelbacks of of self-help. So um we see them come into the limelight. We see groups come out. We see yoga pants come into the zeitgeist. We see all these things. And then it becomes not so interesting to us. Maybe it's because we have a contrarian feeling about it. Maybe it's because we're rebels. Maybe it's because it gets watered down and then we don't trust it as much. And because people are doing it because they don't know what they're doing and they're teaching it anyway. But also, if you are actually going to look into the research of anything, you would be kind of surprised, maybe even shocked at what the psychologists are counting as qualitative data, right? So like when they're saying, "Oh yeah, it absolutely helps." Of course it does. Meditation absolutely helps. Journaling absolutely helps. And so does yoga. It definitely helps. It helps with people's quality of life. It helps with your happiness. It helps with all these things. And I want you to see how it's actually being measured. And if you were to see how like subjective and broad these things are being measured within psychological data, oh wow, oh wow, you'd be like, oh, and you would find out that it's actually being usually measured on college students in America. And when they're replicated, they're not actually reliable because if you do it in Indonesia or Uganda, they're actually not going to be able to replicate those exact same results. So it's like, maybe they're not actually as helpful. Maybe all these things that we're taking as canon in psychology are not actually as helpful. And it's okay if meditation and journaling and yoga don't work for you. So it's actually really about just finding things that work for you. Work for you. Okay. Cutting fabric. I love it. Yes. All right. Anyway, smallest things that work for you. No pressure, no big transformation required. The thing about self-help is that it's not sexy when it's true. Self-help is actually, hey, here are like 5 things that you need to do over a period of time, and you're not really going to see any real life transformation until a while. And then you're going to look back and you're going to be like, oh, that was helpful. But it's not a very good marketing campaign. Okay. All right. Let's talk about the art of getting through. Let's talk about lowering the bar. Anyone want to lower the bar? Anyone feel like you have a lot of high expectations, a lot of pressure? Okay, so probably you're familiar with the spoon theory, right? That we don't have enough spoons to do, or we only have so many spoons, right? You wake up in the day and let's say everybody gets has 10 spoons, and some people have like um some people have less spoons based on how much physical pain they're in or how many things that they have to do a day compared to somebody else. Like Beyonce probably has all 10 spoons, but then somebody that has a physical illness, a chronic physical illness, has less spoons than another person. But either way, we throughout the day we have like we use them up. You don't get more spoons. Okay, so sometimes we don't feel like we have enough because if you have a physical illness, a chronic illness, a mental illness, a bunch of kids, a bunch of things to do, you're losing spoons and you're losing them faster, right, throughout the day. And then what is it that you're doing really during the day? You are doing what most of the time what we think we should be doing, right? Instead of going through like we're pushing through burnout to do all these things that we don't even know that we are enjoying, liking, that it's even and even it's not that everything that we do in life should be enjoyable. That's not what I'm saying. We have to pay bills, we have to be responsible, we have to do things that are annoying that we have to take there's plenty of stuff that doesn't have to be like that. But is it in line with the lesson or the goal that you have for yourself? And is that goal that you have something that you want? Because most of the time I feel like what's happening is we just decide. Well, actually, we don't decide. We don't decide who we want to be, what we want to do, who we want to work for, who we want to help, how we want to be, how we want to feel. These are things that are handed down to us. Maybe it's religion, maybe it's from our parents, maybe it's a business that we are just like, oh, I guess this is what we're going to do. Maybe it's through a lack of decision making. And we're just like, oh, this is how things ended up. How did I get here? And it's too much to rethink. So we just end up doing it and we go through the motions and we end up on autopilot. And then we end up burning ourselves out on stuff that we don't really care about. So instead of doing that, let's let's reevaluate like, are any of these things that you really feel like you really need to do? Are these really things that you do need to do? Like, have you ever been in a situation where there's an emergency and you have to make a call and you're like, I know I'm supposed to be there, but I can't. I just physically can't. And then maybe you're in a situation where there's like a prolonged readjustment due to an emergency, right? Someone's in the hospital and your schedule gets flipped around, you know? Your priorities end up shifting, right? And it's not that you weren't planning on doing X, Y, and Z, but you do change things up. You absolutely change things up. So I want to know if you got a call tomorrow that it was like you have even less spoons than you were planning on, way less spoons. You have half the spoons, you have a completely different time frame. What is it that you would have to cut? What's going to get the cut? If you were told that like you couldn't do most of the stuff that you're planning on doing, what is it that you would have to cut? And what is it that we're so scared of happening when we do cut that stuff? So much of it, I think, is like we're worried about what other people are going to think of us. We're worried about people getting mad, not liking us, that we're not doing as much. There's a productivity hustle thing that's going around since years and years and years and years. But I want you to think about like what would happen if if there really was an emergency. Like play that out. What is the absolute minimum you could do that would still get you through on an emergency day? and make that list out. I think let's actually make that list. Maybe it's, making your kids a meal, or it's taking your meds. So if we give ourselves a different kind of structure, a different kind of permission, a different kind of rule for instead of doing the maximum, we're doing the minimum, and we're doing it on purpose. And we have like, you know, a list of what would be called like non-negotiables. And we're kind of like evaluating how we feel, who we are, and what it is that we're able to do based on our level of energy and ability. Yeah, it is a scary question, but it's only meant to kind of structure your brain into like what gets cut, right? We're not making this emergency happen. It's only for you to figure out what what do I still absolutely need? Even in this worst case, what do I need to do? So we can also reframe this as something that is your self-care non-negotiables. Maybe this is something that you are just making sure, like for you as a person, what is it that you absolutely need that's still going to get you through? Do you still need to drink hot tea every single day? What is your coping mechanism or your just basic human stuff that you need to do that even if the world was ending, you need to be able to do it? Those are your non-negotiables. And we kind of maybe we have like three different sets, or you can have different modes. Like imagine you're a video game player. I don't know anything about video games, but maybe you're a video game archetype avatar, and you based on your energy levels, you decide what mode you're playing in today. Are you playing at maximum effort? Are you playing at the lowest effort possible? Or are you playing at like a B or C level in between? And you can adjust your settings as such. Okay, moving on. Instead of going all in, another reframe for this would be like, what if I think even when we're still like we're having this feeling of, we want to improve, right? We even if we're here, I was talking about like going from like, the feeling really bad to trying to survive and then being in the place of being okay and wanting to do even better. But even when we're doing bad, we're still wanting to improve, right? So I want you to be able to even take that pressure off yourself and say, I don't need to do that much better. I know that I feel really badly right now, and maybe I'm even on the floor, but I don't need to do 25% better. I don't need to go up. I don't need to improve so much that it's incredibly insane, right? Okay, good. The video avatar analogy is helping. That's good. So, 1% better or 5% better, I think can help our brains wrap our heads around what it is that we could do in the moment. So instead of going all in and saying, okay, you know what? I feel like crap right now, and I need to really overhaul this. I need to just like fix this. I think that we've been taught that. I think that we've been shown that everything needs to look like a montage in a movie. And it can. If you feel like that, run with it. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm never saying that like just because I'm talking about it in this way doesn't mean that you have to do it that way. I'm just always here to give you options and ideas. I am saying that if you are on the floor and you can't move, the idea of shifting into a bigger space, a bigger frame of mind, a completely different change. And it's like you have a to-do list that feels never ending. And you're like, I have no idea where to start. This is overwhelming. I think I'm just gonna check out instead. I'm gonna give up instead. A good idea might be to say, what if I just made this 1% better? 1% seems doable instead of a complete 180 flip change. So you don't need to clean the whole room. These are micro movements, right? Probably heard of micro movements. You don't have to clean the whole room. Fold one shirt. You don't have to put it away, just fold one shirt. Instead of replying in full sentences, send a heart emoji, right? So it's just taking anything that you can't feel like it's too much and just giving it 1%. What would 1% to this look like? Even physically, let's take a breath. Let's do that right now, actually. Let's take a breath. Do it again and actually make a sound on your exhale. Think about a time when lowering the bar for you actually made life easier. Can you think about that? Do you have something that comes to mind? A moment when you let something slide and nothing bad actually happened? You know, there's a quote, oh, what is his name? Oh, I can Google it pretty fast, but the quote is something like the irony is that when I fully accept myself, that's when I end up improving. And I think that that in and of itself is the way to address the duality of self-acceptance and self-improvement, which do exist not non-mutually exclusively, but in tandem. But they are different things that hold hands. And once you allow yourself to say, you know what? It's okay. I love myself. It doesn't mean that like I can't do this or I can't do anything or I can't make a change. Once you do that, it's almost like you're allowed to do more and you give yourself permission to do more. It's pretty cool. So the 1% thing, try that. So let's ask yourself right now, what's one thing you're going to give yourself permission to do just halfway this week? 1%, like 99% less this week, or not at all. What's something you're going to completely remove from your to-do list this week? Share that in the chat. And I'm going to move on to letting your brain off the hook. So there is a myth of, I should be handling this better. So your brain is not a machine. It is very complex, and it's also a little bit of a dummy. Your mind is complex, your brain is a dummy, meaning that it just will respond in the way that it's going to. But in that way, it also needs downtime, just like the rest of your body, you know. If you're gonna run for a marathon, you gotta rest it too, you know? You can't just continue to run. Your calves are going to like cramp up and they're gonna atrophy in a different way, right? Um, so I want you to think about how much of your life you have been using your brain. I know that's a weird question, but like, I mean, oh my goodness. I think about how often have been stressed in my life, how often I've been anxious, how often I have to think about things and plan and feel like I need to control and micromanage and be hyper independent. And a lot of this is like a result from being a child and growing up and having like a, you know, a trauma response. But as a result of that, I know that I have been in like a high cortisol state, right? And I know that that's the case for a lot of my merriment makers, my misunderstood troop, right? And when we're in that state, we don't really get to experience rest the same way. So when you're usually kind of thinking a lot, using your brain maybe more, and not really giving it that space to just be, instead of beating yourself up for being so overwhelmed and stress, we are also like we're allowed to love our brains for being so active and having so many great ideas and not want to rest as much as other people. That's one part of it. Like I love that my brain is constantly going. And I'm allowed to also want to take a break, whatever it is that I want. And we're allowed to change our minds too. I think that that's something that needs to be said. You're allowed to change your mind during the middle of the day. You can change your mind. You can change your identity. You can change your favorite color. You can change your anything. You can change it. It doesn't matter. It doesn't make you a bad person. You're allowed. Janice says, I'm giving myself a hall pass on feeling bad about not putting my clothes away, even though they're clean. Honey, me too. I have not been this backed up with laundry. I'm somebody that, like, I'm very physically organized. I know that doesn't look like it. This is controlled chaos back here. But I do my laundry once a week on the same day. I put it away. I'm not usually somebody that has that like pile thing going on. I do right now. I have 3 loads in a like that need to be put away. And it's annoying and frustrating, but my priorities are different right now. There's been a lot going on in my world personally, and I'm letting it go. And the thing is that it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that my laundry is not put away. That was a standard that I created for myself. What is happening as a result of the laundry not being put away? Nothing. If someone were to come over, I would prefer them to not see that. But why? Because of what I think that it says about me? No. Like, yeah, I mean, I guess, but who cares? Who cares? It really doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't make you a bad person or wishy-washy to change your mind. New circumstances, new information, and there's so many reasons to change. Yes, absolutely agreed. And oh my God, like there's so many different kinds of experiences to have. If you're completely rigid and stubborn, then you're never going to get to try new things. Say you can say yes to something new and be like, "Oh no, this is my new favorite thing. Who cares?" Okay. So, if you are somebody that has what I call jelly overwhelm, which is when I go to the grocery store, I've gotten so much better about it, but when there's just too many stimulus, there's too many options, option overwhelm. Okay. There's why are there so many different brands of everything, right? Jelly overwhelm. So too many choices can be paralyzing, not analysis paralysis, but options, right? And instead of thinking like, what am I going to do? And leaving the grocery store without any jelly, or just not making a decision on your to-do list and not doing anything or taking a nap, um, I want you to try this instead to just limit it to 2 things. So it can be, do I want to do this or this? And you have to decide like, okay, Mary said that it has to be 2 things. So I'm just gonna pick these two. So if you're in the front of jelly, if you're going crazy, you just narrow you pull two. And it's like this one or this one, and now we only have two. Or is it, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do right now. I'm bored. Okay, am I gonna watch TV or take a nap? Am I gonna eat cereal or am I gonna eat takeout? Like, am I gonna wear real pants or am I gonna stay in pajamas? So if you feel like you're having like a bunch of options, just circle two, write them down. Or, I'm at a restaurant, what I do is I use the sweet and low packets and I cover up all of the things I know I don't want, and then it limits all of the things that I can see them physically. It comes down to the things that I do want. So try to trick your brain into making decisions without the overwhelm of infinite possibilities. Anything that you can do to limit it down to 2, and then if you have to, flip a coin. And then I promise you, when it's in the air, you will know exactly what you want. Is there a time when you felt like limiting your choices or simplifying your choices has actually helped you get through a tough day? Or maybe even having some sort of, going back to the video game avatar analogy, maybe on a tough day when you're low energy, you have some sort of plan that you default to. So, like for me, I know that when I can't think, food becomes a really overwhelming thing for me. I don't know what to do. I can't think of what to make. And a lot of times I'll just not eat as a result, and then I'll get a headache, and it's like a whole thing. So maybe there could be some sort of low energy video game avatar plan, right? So when you are waking up and you're feeling like the low energy video game avatar, you want to eat toast and you're going to wear all black and you're going to um, wear these shoes and you're going to eat this thing for lunch and you're going to only um stay in for lunch and you know what I mean? Like create like a really easy default mode plan so that you don't have to make decisions on that day. And you could even make like a note in your phone or a worksheet that you print out. And it's something that you refer back to when it's something a day like that. Okay. Now, also, I think when we are in these, hold on one second. I think when we're in these really low moments, these low periods, these low energy, it's like survival mode experiences. It can feel like having anything that feels joyful is almost, it's guilty, it's negative, it's something that we can't do, we can't engage in. It's like having a party at a funeral, right? It's like almost disrespectful, even if it's just to ourselves. And I want to tell you that even if everything sucks, one tiny pocket of joy can make things bearable. So often, you know, we will wait for like permission to experience something fun or joyful or whatever you want to call it. I think just fun is fine. But I think that that's actually what can help us really get some perspective or just get through it, you know? It's the comic relief track in the middle of of the sad movie or the dramatic moment. So try to remember that joy doesn't need to be earned. And I know that when we're in these moments, especially if they're circumstantial or they're pop-up moments of like one day during the week, or even, you know, when it's just been going on for a really long time, it's difficult to have the awareness to do any of the things that I'm saying, you know, to remember like, okay, let's put ourselves as the avatar. Like let's, okay, we're going to be the avatar mode. We're going to you know, wear these clothes, we're going to eat this thing. It's difficult to put any theory into action when what's happening is our brain is deeply sad, right? Yeah, we're an NPC on that day. Exactly. Yeah. What is the NPC's mode? Um, but that's why I think kits are really good, like having this plan to fall back on, and maybe even having a sign that says, you know, don't forget if you feel like an NPC today, do this. So anything that reminds you that your knowledge doesn't stay on the shelf. Shelf knowledge doesn't help you. Only implementation does. And the more times that you get practice with this, the easier it will be for you to do it in the future. Okay. So even if you only try it a little bit the first time and you're like, oh, I feel like crap today, but I do remember that I had that plan that I worked on. And you do a little bit of it, it'll be more likely that you're going to try it the next time that you feel bad. And we don't want you to have multiple times that you're feeling bad, but this is life and it's going to happen, even if they're months or years apart. So multiple kits that are pre-prepared when you're in a closer to thriving state, or at least not a on the puddle floor state, are extremely helpful because they're ready to go when you need them. And this can be a physical box, a backpack, or a piece of paper, or a note on your phone. Anything that helps you to go in the future. And like I was saying, joy is not a luxury, it's part of survival. And this is fun, this is laughter, it's those joy cleanses. Like what is it called? Like, um, this old roommate used to do it to me, like eye cleanse or something. I can't remember. It's watching videos of animals being cute and chaotic. It's taking 30 seconds or less, 5 seconds to put on a stupid song and move a little bit. Or scrolling through a nostalgia playlist without even listening, or looking at those really funny ones on Spotify where people make a playlist to a theme. Like it's like what would it be like to find a duck at Disney World, and it's like the songs are words, and when you read them in an order, it sounds like an experience out loud. I don't even know how to explain it. It's so weird. There's so much weird stuff on the internet. That's what it's for, you know? Um, or just read one page out of a book, read one poem. And this is the kind of stuff, this stuff is what I like to do as a merriment maker. This is the kind of stuff like you hire a tax accountant to do your taxes, you hire a merriment maker to provide you with joy boosters and injections. So this is why I do stuff like send you mail and send you texts every day and send you like I'm in your email, I'm in your mailbox, I'm in your phone, I'm in your dashboard, I'm all over the place trying to infiltrate you with prompts and inspiration, even if you don't want them on those bad low days, so that you don't even really have to look. Because if you're part of one of any of my programs, there's going to be so many easy, accessible things that you can do, right? So like when you're trying to find a video of an animal being chaotic or an idea of like what it is to do, anything fun, there's just archives and archives and archives of options. So that's really what one of the things that's really great about being in the merriment making world. So I really want you to think about like what's something that you can do this week, whether you're feeling low or not, where you can claim a moment of fun. And if you have forgotten what that is for you, or you haven't really figured out what it is yet, or it's been a while and you feel like you're a different person than the last time that you had like a really good time, or the last time you had a hobby, like your hobbies that you had on paper, it's like you haven't done those in 10 years or 5 years, and you just don't really identify with them anymore. And it doesn't really sound that fun to do. And it's like, yeah, I'm a dancer. And it's like, no, not really. I mean, when's the last time you danced? I don't know. So that I have a course, a free course in the Positive Pulse that I mentioned, called Jumpstart Your Joy, and we go through and kind of like create your fun algorithm, and it's really good. It's fun. It's helpful to create an idea of what your personal fun can look like. Okay, let's hear from you again. Um, the point of this is, that surviving is one half of self-love. We have surviving and we have thriving. We hear those words constantly, and there's different ways to describe this. But if you are ever in a place where you just feel like you have to get through the day, that's always an option. And these are just like tips of how you can do that. So one, we had lowering the bar in reality, not just in theory. So really just doing the absolute minimum for yourself, the 5% rule, or you could even take it down to the 1% rule, right? To aim, like, instead of putting the whole basket of clothes away, just doing one shirt. And then we had taking your brain off the hook, right? Instead of thinking that you should be handling something better, really just allowing yourself to let this be what it is and take some downtime for yourself. And then taking things and looking at them whenever you feel like you have option overwhelm, to give yourself as few options as possible and try to pick between two. And if you need to, flip a coin. And then trying to create some moments of joy for yourself. Things that are, if everything sucks, try to sneak joy in, because joy does not need to be earned. Look for things that can be added to your day that are going to make you laugh. If everything sucks, you don't need to wait for permission to experience joy. You can also try to include some sort of pocket comforts. So maybe things that bring you comfort, like a hoodie, maybe that can be part of your your avatar that is on the low energy mode, the survival mode. So maybe part of your outfit is like the soft hoodie that feels like a hug. You can have something in your pocket that feels like a totem, something that feels comforting. Like those rocks that feel like really good grooves, or a fidget tool. You can have a phrase or a mantra, chant, affirmation, something that makes you feel comforted. It could be like an affirmation, like, I don't have to be perfect. I just want to be here. It's okay to just exist. And then you can also include some sort of sensory grounding. I think that's pretty powerful. Anything that is able to, again, thinking about the 1% better, right? It doesn't have to fix you. We're not looking for that. We're just looking for 1% better, even if it's just in that moment. So a smell, a physical touch, a sound, maybe it's lo-fi beats, a lotion with a scent that you like, a temperature, a texture, and keeping those things accessible. So wherever you are, you're able to access them. Okay. So is there anything that you feel like you want to implement this week that's just a small way to be a little kinder to yourself? Because really, I think that's what this is about, right? Being nice to yourself as you're as you're going through something that is, I mean, if you're in a place where you feel like you're only able to survive, I mean, there's a reason for that. So how can you be nice to yourself? If your friend told you that they were only able to survive, then I mean, how would you be nice to them? And what I think we can take away from this is, surviving is enough. You don't have to thrive every single second. Lowering the bar isn't failure. It can be a strategy, especially in the short term. And you're not alone when you feel like this. And I'm not going to give you homework because I feel like that's the antithesis of what this is. I do think that we kind of created something as a result of this that I wasn't expecting, which is the avatar. So I think that if you want to do something tangible as a result of this, and you're feeling like you have the quote spoons to do that, to make a plan for what you would do at the lower energy level when you feel like you're in survival mode. So what is it that you can wear? What is it that you'll eat? What is it that you'll do? What are your non-negotiables? And like, yeah, exactly. Like, what is your plan step by step for when you are feeling like you're in survival mode, lowest energy possible? So that imagining, and imagine that you're doing it for somebody else, even after you read it, so that you're as thorough as possible. Like, if someone didn't know what they were doing, did they have a full kit to go through this? And then you can even create like a bit of a self-care kit to, put stuff in there with the sensory things and all of that. But I did make you a little freebie gift. It's a permission to be human pass. And you can get that at uncustomary.org/human pass. It's in the show notes as well. You can print it out, you can screenshot it, or you can just know that it exists, but I signed it for you and you can put your name on it. It's like a certificate. Um, yeah, it's cute. It's colorful. And yeah, if today's episode resonated with you, um, you can like the video, you can like the chat, you can subscribe wherever you are and share it with somebody or just everyone, because I think we all need to hear this. And if you want more support, more happiness, more tips on habits, and really a whole community that gets this, then like I mentioned, there's a free community for the Positive Pulse, and you can find that at uncustomary.org, and you'll get sent over to the new hub on Mighty Networks, and it's really cool. And like Lori said, it's a cool space. So yeah, and there's actually like 50 different classes in there. It's quite cool. They're all free. And if you want an upgrade, you can come join us in the Merryman Makers, where there's like 1,500 things. And if you want to search around for, you know, those joy boosters that I mentioned at uncustomary.org, you can scroll down and it says like, how can I help you? And you'll see that there's buttons that say things um, like a fast thing, and then the more structured program, and then longer term uh, commitments, and then a physical out in the world. So the physical out in the world is stuff that's more like a product, like my book and workbooks and stuff like that. But then there's also events, and those are both online and in person when I'm located in Baltimore. So if you are too, you can come meet me at the next Merriment Mixer, and it's only $5. And then if you want like the texting or the mail a la carte, you can get that too. So go explore on customary.org and you'll find some really cool stuff. And if you have any questions, let me know. And yeah, thank you so much for being here. And I really hope that you had a good time. And I hope that you aren't just surviving today and that you feel better than that. But I hope that this has helped. And if anybody has any questions, we still have like 9 minutes and I can do any sort of Q&A at this moment. You are very welcome, Lydia. Okay. Alrighty. Well, thank you so much. And I hope you have a great, oh, thank you, Susanna. All right, everybody. If there's no more questions on any of the platforms, then I just want to say thank you. Like, subscribe, share, check out uncustomary.org, and thank you. Have a wonderful, I'm going to have so many questions later. How do I ask them? So that's a great one. So if you join, I think the best way would be if you want to join the free community in Positive Pulse, do that. And then we have a feed and a chat, and you can ask anything in there, and I will get back to you very quickly. And we also have other people in there who can help you too. But yeah, but also if you respond or leave a comment on social media, like on YouTube or on Instagram or something like that, I can get back to you there. But I think that the best place at this point for us to connect and ask questions that are specific to like, self-development or help like this is to go inside of the Positive Pulse community that's free. And what's great about it too is that there's an app, and something like this, we have all of these events like this scheduled out. So you can even like RSVP and it'll give you like a reminder and you can come, and that's really helpful. Hi, Unicorn Onesie. Yes. So I would really recommend doing that. So you can go there and Positive Pulse. Here you go. There's the link again. And I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of your day. Okay.